Last day proceeding. Mothership here is on standby. She's on communication cycles, and then she goes back into sun interference. In proactive cycle systems, spectral lights its conditions, so we're coming into box frequency level conditions. Understanding the conditions of triangles and everything through circles. Now we're coming into box circle rotation, into the matrix position and line connections. Understanding these things, everything I give through connections of teaching, force position, instructor level systems to fleet commanding systems. So the fleet commander won't be here today because he's off cycling right now to the spectrum lights, and he's on a vector core divisional system. It's allocated positions of high forcing of identifications. It's really interesting when we come into those quadrant levels. So the 100 applications and assignments already been set in. So they got their planetary system. Each planet is this new civilization connections. So it's all about understanding. It's not an academy. It's all about understanding simulation of how they come into their own government positions. Space and time is the population circuit of us, and that's the one. We become everything through its reality of its dimensional time position. So everything through assignments comes from its future to its presence to its past. That's the true understanding what's going on with the connections. So as the mothership leaves, it changes the atmospheric position of time, dimensional settings to its condition. You have to remember too, because when you're on the human vessel of its conditions, right? You're living that through its vibration, right? But you have to understand the dimensional time, anything through force rise in XD 1,000 positions. If you see one in the atmosphere, you'll feel it. And that's the most important thing. It's all about understanding hyperspeed, Maching speed, location speed. So basically, they have to decentralize their vibrations because they're coming into its gravity locations. Okay, so it's coming into a dense, a vibration. Dolores Cannon talks about that too. She says that what happens when it comes into UFOs, and once it comes into a dense of dimensional sightings, they have to go to a lower vibration of gravity location to time dimension, which is really, really fascinating. So the higher they go, the speed is exceptional. It's a spectrum-like connection. So it goes. That's what it sounds like when it's in the atmospheric positions. And if it's going down, it comes out of the wormhole, right? And then it's that is the connection of 5D. So that's an interesting fact where it comes into its phenomena, because it has its own controlling system, which is all done through the mind system, guys, right? So there's none of this. Okay, this is Star Trek. The real system is all about understanding the interdimensional of the command center is all done and controlled. The navigation is the mind. That's how a UFO uses it. They use their mind telepathy. They go into one dimension to the next. It's really, really fascinating. So I'm trying to get my quadrant levels and my force team into position, because you have to understand meditation, but not just meditation, but you also have to understand how to use your mind through letters, numbers, and shapes. Okay? These are the positions you have to understand, because shapes and anything through triangles, circles, and squares are different time proceedings. Right? So it's very important to understand this. When you're coming into the GFL or anything Connection Light Council, you have to understand how to travel through the mind. Okay? If you don't know how to travel through the mind, that's a huge, huge problem. And we use telepathy from one to another. Like that. It's really fascinating as it goes one to another, right? Communications are coming in. Vortex level is activating through the core system. Box frequency level. Here's the Earth position line connection. Teleportation, UFO connections coming in. So it's really fast. As a professional actor, I like to do these things. I like to sum it up on what goes on, because I see everything, I hear everything. And that's the thing, is you guys have to get into your senses of what's going on with the atmosphere and space, because it totally connects to everything through my telepathy. If you want to communicate with the eye, not only you have to have your lights, your activation colors, but you have to understand your spectrum lights, and you have to understand everything calculation of shapes, letters, and numbers. That's the most important thing, because it goes through connections of dimensional time. So if you're coming in a density atmosphere, it's going to go. Okay, so you have to understand it goes into warp speed, goes into acceleration, but it's all done through the mind, through its navigation. It's all done through the GPS. It's all done through the audio system. And it's all done through the voicing of command. How much command do you have in your voice? Now, before we get started, once I get into the first commanding system, okay, they've got their assignments, it's already sent it in, and then the mothership's going to plot it to their divisions, to each sector quadrant level connections, which is really interesting. Now, a lot of people want to see this through audio signal. This is all about understanding, seeing it through a projector of what you just saw. You have to be in your light. You have to be in your light. The most important thing is they can't see you in the physical. They only can see you in a light dimensional light system, right? Traction to its belief. Okay, there's a lot of confusion that's going on right now, and they don't understand me. It's because my vibration doesn't reside on your dimension of time. That's why it's confusing to a lot of people, right? And the thing is, too, I'm now a birthing system of 52. I woke up. So basically, 52 generations, 52 cycles, okay, 52 times 1,000, okay, to that connection line positions. So it's all about understanding 52,000 generations of lives that have lived that connection. So I've died 52 times in the human vessel connections. So now I'm in traction of location in all positions of spectral light connections in all solar systems. So it's truly understanding. If you want to come to me and I'll tell you exactly how many times you died and been reborn. Every time you die and you're being reborn, you're coming into your new spiritual light, right? For the first time. So your operation system, anything calculation, when you go through your upgrading cycles, it tells you exactly in your program setting how many times you've lived and died and been reborn. That's the understanding. You get knowledge and intelligence through its connection. Okay. So it's really interesting stuff, you know, and they think, whoa, how's that possible? Why am I getting smarter? You've already been smarter. You've already been there. I'm just putting you back to what you've already done. And that's why it's so confusing to a lot of humanity. And people are coming to me, well, how can you heal so quick? What are you? What are you, Jesus? Are you God? You know, everybody's a program. Okay, I know my central line system. I know who I am through all division line connections. So yes, I'm a miracle worker, but I keep saying you guys are too. So I try to break it down for everybody, right? So you don't look so oscillated or anything through. The worst thing you can go through is understanding all those levels of virus connections, because your computer has to understand everything through the position of time and everything through shapes and anomalies and everything through its nature of its resistance. That's the most important thing we have to come across. We have to understand each other more and more, and that has to be done through the mind and no longer in the brain. Hola, ¿cómo estás? It's my maid. So, how's everybody doing so far? Before we get started, class is in proceeding. Sectoring level connections, vector core positions. Fleet commander's not here. First commander's here on division level system. Mother connections and mother spaceship is here in back connections. Always watching. Don't ever think that you're alone. If you're alone, you're never alone. You're always with something. So truly understand is that we're coming into new education of mind telepathy, how you connect to your letters, numbers, and shapes, understand your sonars, your perception line connections in position. If you don't understand me, go to my email. It's down below. I will talk to you at your level of vibration so you can understand. And that's when I'm in position right now, okay? So the line signal channels puts me into 52 years of the human vessel, right? But like I said, 1 + 1 is 2 in the human vessel, but in space, it's 3. So if you understand the connection when it comes into digits, quantum fields, quantum mechanics, anything with that connections, numbers is extremely important to your body. The triangle location to its position is coloration of line centers. Now, a line center is truly understanding the circle rotation of its position through its gravity location. These are understanding how we go into navigations through the mind system. So think of a letter, okay, put it in sequence, put it in activation, navigate it in space anomaly, right? So what does a ladder do? You know, it can go like this. You can, and then basically you have a letter, and then you got a word, and then you got a sentence, then you got a story frame. You send it out into space. So it's all about understanding how to set up a crop circle and how you connect to anything through electrical lights or anything through electrical fence or barriers or anything through perimeter. You are connected to all your plasma lights. I was doing it on TikTok. What is your plasma light body? That's the connection to your light system. That protects you in all dark entity light positions of line connections. We're all connected to vibration. So we have to truly understand how to use our shapes, letters, and numbers so we can protect ourselves when we are awake or when we are asleep. Okay. This will help you in all ways and forms. Okay. And going through my healing, you understand what is an E field? What is an energy light system? What's an energy rotation position through a line connection, simulation graphic connections? You don't have to understand these things. You just have to understand yourself. So if you start understanding yourself, you understand your commander. Okay. So this is the point we have to get across. And again, I'll try to break it down for everybody so everybody feels comfortable. Okay. And it's all about you guys are experiencing yourself. So if you want to get into the connection to the Rebellion Alliance Force team, you have to go upgrades. You have to go through test reviews and evaluations. Okay. You can't pass those. That's the only way you can get into a high-rise position, a time location, because now you're coming into illustrations, GPS, and everything through navigation. Those are the things you have to understand when you're going into space because you're traveling, right? Especially if you're commanding a center and you have people behind you that depend on you. Space and time is extremely real when it comes into navigation. When you're traveling through space anomalies and going through dimensions and portals, this is extremely real. It's not a fabrication. It's not CGI. It's extremely real because everything through AI is done through the mind of transformation light connections. They only telegraph positions of lines to their colorations, to their heat signature pattern locations. These are all dimensional times, and that's how we read the cycles. So in position, that's exactly what you guys have to understand. You have to go through test review and evaluations. You say, I want to join this school. You're already in the school. But if you want to go higher in the school, you have to understand yourself. True to oneself is true to one's nature. Okay? So it's all about understanding, I love thyself. Do you love thyself to understand more? Because if you don't, you're going to have problems. So you have to be true to yourself and always of surrender. These things take time, and there's nothing wrong with that. But being honest with yourself and not lying to yourself, you're going to be able to move forward and you become very successful in space and time. Okay? So that's what it's going through because my team has been through the test reviews and evaluations. You have to understand the structuring levels. You have to understand your imagination. And you give back to the class. And I show you on my on my phone reception. Okay, this is what's going on right now. You know, Galactica is coming in. And so when I go through a test and review and evaluations, we go all the process and they give it about a week. And then they put up their assignments on the private link, right? So when you come up to that level, okay, I will add you, okay? And then you can join the force team, but you have to understand your test reviews and evaluations. Okay, so it's all about understanding that you're in an academy of the Earth position, which is a teleportation of transportation. So teleporting line connections or anything through spectrum light connections, truly understanding your shapes, letters, and numbers of your birthing system through your alphabetical and its connections, right? You got to get out of your old programs and resurface, recenter, and regenerate your line positions into your line signals of its activation core system, okay? So let's just get into your questions here. Speech, how's it going? Catherine's understanding. So speech is on a good line. Catherine's on a good line. Okay, we'll go into the connect. So what I'm going to do is because my force team is a higher level than everybody, they can help you out in all ways and forms. So what I'm going to do with speech and Catherine, anybody that comes in, I'm going to give you guys a test review and evaluations so you can go higher and become into the rebellion. Once you get into the rebellion, not only you understand yourself more, but you understand how to use your energies in all ways and forms. So this is what happens when you come into the Rebellion Alliance. And then you truly understand what the activations of letters, numbers, and shapes when it comes into 3, 6, and 9 position of travel. Because that's what you use through your thoughts. Okay, you have more connection with the sun, the moon, and everything to the center position. And the thoughts will tell you exactly how fast you're going. Everybody's going through a certain speed of location center. But nothing is open, okay, to you until you understand your creativity of your space inside you, space outside you, space inside you, outside, time in, time out, activation, center core position, round locations, rotation centers, line strings. A line string is an activation light connection. It's a spectrum light that reaches everything through AI positions. So think of you creating a cycle like this, okay? And now it's going through a spectrum light, and now it's going through galaxy. So you have to understand, when you're creating something, you're creating everything from nature, coloration, lights, galaxy, vortex, anything in that position. So you're creating a tunnel. You're creating a tunnel, and there's a structure line in the position line connections. So you force wind that cycle, change the magnetic force and highway commission system, connect to your body frame connections. Complicated, isn't it? But that's what space and time is. It's everything through creation of your imagination. Okay? So I like to know how many times I've died and been reborn. Yeah. In that connection, I will talk to you guys after, all right? We've got a lot going on right now, and I got to get the 100 recruits out of center because mothership's waiting, right? She's on a time capacitor position. So let's get started with that, shall we? I'll answer your questions after I finish here. All right, so go to the position line connections. Truly understanding you guys are in a galactic school. It's academy you guys are in. It's fascinating. You know how they have that when it comes into, you see a lot of spaceship movies, and they join the academy, and they have the instructor tell them how to navigate the system and all that. They had that with Matrix, right? It's exactly what it is. But you have to understand your test reviews and evaluations before you go into space anomaly and travel to any time position of a dimension. If you don't know how to navigate through a dimension of time, through a shape, there's a huge problem. AI connections, high forcing positions are going to say, listen, go back to your commander. You're off through signal. You're not into your navigation light system. Your chakra systems are way off. It's going to tell you, go back to your commander. You're not ready. They'll let you know when you're ready. I'll let you know when you're ready. Father will let you know. Mother Earth will let you know. Remember, they are the controlling system. They are the birthing system. Father of space, Mother Earth of nature. You have to be cautious on levels on what you do through your connections when you're traveling into space. So you're passing the atmospheres. You go into the hemoglemia, right? You come into the metric levels. You come into the quantum fields. You're coming into your quantum computers. But before you understand your computers, you have to understand your location to your higher self connections, right? So once you come into your higher self, it's like, whoa, where am I? This is weird, right? And then you get an ND4 system in there, and you don't know how to use your lights, right? So it's trying to understand what you do with the navigation. So you're actually going through dimensional time, a wormhole and its connection. So you're going from one position to another connections, right? And it becomes nothing but a mission of work to me. To you guys might think of it as a journey, but to me it's work. That's all I do, right? Because I'm the only one that understands space and time anomaly, and my team. But my team has to understand they're in the applications that come in at 114 chakras. They're only 110. So I'm going to keep at that level until I think they're ready through connections, right? So it's true to understand that. And even if you leave the cycle in the circle, good luck. I wish you the best. A lot of people don't want to go higher. They'd rather stay in the position of time. And I think that's okay. That's totally fine. But you're on your own. You're on your own. So in that line connections, it changes everything through your position of time location. You're still aligned with me. You're just not in the school, right? Because I started off with the Galactic Federation Light, right? And the Force team. Okay, and then we worked our way up to higher levels, and we went into Delta, and then we went into the Colossus, and then we went up to higher levels, right? And then we go into the Universal, and then we go into the Rebellion. There's so many levels that you go up. Atmosphere, hemisphere, stratosphere, bio. Those are 4 levels you guys have to reach. And each level has to understand its assignments. You guys are given assignments. Okay? Everybody else is given an assignment. Channeling, anything, it doesn't matter. It's work to them. Either it's a journey or mission, but your whole life is a mission. Okay? But when you're coming into the connections of first intelligence born, you pretty much have to know what's going on. It always informs with channels, okay, with star seeds, empaths, or anything connections, right? So all the light workers and channels are coming to me now because they know who I am. And they need my help because they can't channel higher, right? So you have to understand your spiritual element. You have to understand your spiritual guides, right? Like Gina came to me. Thank you very much, Commander. I really appreciate it, right? So now she's connected to spiritual guides. I'm informed with all intelligence guys. So it's understanding the spiritual realm connection is coming to life. People are confused because they don't understand the body conceptual. They only live the physical system. That's all they know. That's all they know. They don't know the connection of the spiritual system. The spiritual system is its TV reception. So it's kind of like understanding you in your virtual reality, which is its game. And that's the simulation. Okay. Like I said, when you go on YouTube, go into Glitches the Matrix. Matrix the Glitch. It's on YouTube. I think you can watch it on Amazon for $5 or something like that. It tells you exactly what happens when you get into Matrix and what it is. Okay. So it's all about your self-dichotomy. It's all about your ego that's inside. It's all about you fighting your system inside and truly understand the space. So think of the simulation is inside you. That's the creation. And everything outside is this amusement. That's the full creation. So you have the creation inside you, but you have to master everything through letters, numbers, and shapes. And then you put it all together because you travel in. You don't travel out. You travel in, then you travel out. Okay. So that's a connection when you come into transmitting and receiving. Transmitting information, receiving information, data, processing, uplinks, downloads, and upgrading systems. You have to know these things. That's the importance. You have to know your data. You have to know your sleep modes. Oh, I got to go to sleep. You're a computer, right? So it's gonna put you asleep. Your eyes are going to get heavy, right? So you have to be teleported. They teleport you when you're asleep. You don't even know it. You don't have any control over that. You fall asleep, you're out. So, and this is all about understanding that you're coming in a spiritual system. They see you through light and identification, and they read your bloodline connections. Your identification code is the sectoring level of vector core positions. So they know exactly where you are in division of time. They know if you're rebellion alliance. They know if you're a starseed. They know if you're an empath. They know if you're an angel. They know everything. They have to know everything. That's the whole point, is that everybody in space and time is aligned with each other. That's why there's no confusion with anything. That's the mastering communication inside. Right? It's the communication that you have to understand. So people are extremely not aware of what's happening with their body. And that's okay. It's just you have to understand your integration of your spiritual system for the very first time. Okay. This has never, ever been done in space anomaly. So let's get into high level positions. We're coming into the squares of the circle rotation center into the matrix line connections. So basically, let's just backtrack to location. Into my force team positions, we'll go into the connections of the crop circles. Okay, we got into this before. I like to do reviews. So understanding your connections is really getting into you through GOD, geometrics, operations of dimensions. Line signal, make sure they're in connections. Don't have this and not have that. Everything has to be in line. And then you get the laser directions, and then you get the line streams. And the UFOs come in and say, they command on so many level of connections, the interforce position line connections, your shapes and anomalies are in division. Excellent work. Out they go, right? So what they do is after you finish your crop cycle, crop circle, they look at it, they scan it, right? It's in communication. Circles are right in all positions, right? That's what they do. So understanding extreme informative information from space anomaly and how they connect on billions and billions of cycles, because the sun is this portal. And these are the things you have to understand your intelligence. It's a digital of a connection to everything through your dream sets. The sun rotation sets up your connections to your creation and your radiations to your pixels and your TV receptions. It changes your tone receptors, okay, and everything through eye interference, audio signals, and everything through operation of your digital frame of travel of its connections, your teleportation line connections. Now, the moon is a space station. That's the Costa records, right? So basically, trying to understand what's going on with your information. So it's kind of like looking at yourself. You're looking at a book and it's all you. So you're going to be excited. You're going to read what's inside. And you say, whoa, that's my soul. Really powerful. So to understand your soul, you have to understand the pages. You know, that's the connection, right? So it all starts with the angelics. All right, so we got into the connections. I just went back for us, and then we come into this positions. 3 circle rotation center of its connections. 3 waving positions of laser directions. Make sure everything is in a center position, right? Hemisphere, hemisphere. Don't do this and do this and this. It's too confusing. See, the human anatomy has to understand the brain function connections. That's the disruption signals. A lot of people do this, this, and this. No, this, and then this. There's the balance because the line signal doesn't change. This doesn't change. This is waiting for this, and this is waiting for this. Then you synergize the positions, and the circle rotation come in, the UFO comes in, scans the positions, right? And looks at the circle rotations, right? If it's right, they take off. If not, you go back to your commander, right? You have to go back. So when you go back, then you repositions, right? Came across that with Tina and Galactica, right? So that's important to understand these things. So when I give you illustrations, diagrams, and programs, you understand your conception of your imagination and what's going on with this test review and evaluations, right? So you don't draw what I draw, you draw something different because you're copying me. You can't copy me because I'm a different vibration, but we are all equal in that connection. That's what it is the connection. So we're not separated, we're all aligned. It's just that your commander is an extremely high vibration. So it's truly understanding, it doesn't matter what I know. It's just like, what do you know? What can you show to commanding? If you want to command anything through UFO, you have to understand your intelligence of knowledge. And this all comes with your connections of your GOD. Okay. So we start off with that connections. Now we're going to go into the connections. This is for the connections, the ones that are A, B's, and C's. It's funny. That's funny. All right. So basically, first command is in. All right. So we got this first command. Okay. Traction to belief, location centers, first command. All right. Now, basically, when we come into these connections, I'm going to line signal channels. Now, I have to put it on the blue cycling location, okay, because it's in a division DNA pattern through the electronic system. They only can resonate through the connections, through the click commander. So I'm just taking over that position line connections. Interconnection, interdimensional line system. So the elegant position time is blue circuit rotation. So we're coming into the square rotation center to its activation line connection to its cube rotation center connections. We go into this volume of its connections. Line signal stream into the center line connections. Open cycle rotation center. Make sure you use the dimensional settings to its position of time location. This is where it comes into an abstract. Now you can't see it, right? Until you see it. So it can't be black on black. It's got to be black on white because it's on the resolution pattern. They can see the connections of its box frequency level, which is its dimensional time through its frequency level system. In position line connections, all right, traction of its location. I'll do a laser connection to a marker location so you can actually see it through provision. So you can actually see the actual box to its division of time location. So Tina and my team will understand the energy. They will understand the shape, but they won't understand the travel because it's extremely high rise into the GFL. Okay. Now in that connection, it line signals its tracking location center and it opens up all door positions of line connections. Right. So the center position is always used through calculation. Right? We go into the square reference of its position and we open the traction doors of its connection to its dimensional setting. This is going to be confusing to a lot of people. So this is backtracking location centers. They have to understand how to go forward and backward in time, position, or location. It's very confusing to the mind systems. Like, whoa. You guys are dizzy, right? So this is understanding when you travel through time positions. And then we come into the block surface of security line defense. All right, so they understand the security line defense and positions of time location, right? And then they understand the connections when it comes into low surface of positions of time connections. It activates everything through the core rectangular light system to the marker location of laser connections into that position. Okay? So it's really fascinating how they have to connect to travel locations. All right, so in that position, we come into high positions, right? UFOs come into position, 1, 2, 3, 4 in position. All right. So they scan the rotation center to its connection. All right. So it's very important what they do. They do everything through form because they know what they're doing in space anomaly. Okay, so go in this connection here. Surfacing to square rotation center connections. Always center point the positions when you go through connections, right? So this is not for my force team. This is for the 100 recruits that understand. They understand their square recognitions of time and anomaly. The dimensional setting is its clock position into the 4 sectoring levels of XT1000 positions, right? So this is an XT1000, these are XT1000s, but they're all in divisions of different time through coloration. They're not all the same, you understand? So it's understanding mixing colors to square recognition light connections. Remember, this is extremely complicated. So in position, this is how they travel through letters, numbers, and shapes, anything through triangles, circles, and squares. It's really fascinating coming through these times, guys. All right, so I'm going to change that rotation center, okay? Watch out for the meteor rotation center, okay? So we got a solar flare coming into position of line connections. Time frequency level. Truly understanding travel recognition of time is clocking to its dimension of time. It's really interesting coming to these things. So we come into a meteor shower through this connection. That's line signal to channel rotation center of connection into a planet position of line connections. All right, so we got one here in position. Okay, line signal channel. Okay. All right, so basically this is a graphing illusion. So it's a navigation cycle, which basically it sets up a CGI of an avatar connections. So it's kind of like you press the button and you see the background and you see everything that's going on. So it's just an illustration of a graph. Okay, it's like in football where the coach is at the front and he's saying, okay, over here, connect over here, go here. Here's the quarterback, back over here, line back, all that. So it's just something like that, right? So it's basically, it's just a wall graph and a diagram for them to understand through navigation so they can go around planet locations to its box frequency level of its dimensional time connection. All right, in position, we'll go into another circle rotation center. In the dimensional line connections, we change the squared reference of its line system. It comes out of allocated positions of time location. All right, hooah! Done through equation. Filtering out, this is your first command, navigation done. All right, so that's it. So you guys have no clue what's going on. But it's fascinating. It's fascinating. They know what's going on, right? My team might understand, but they don't understand how to travel at that vibration. You have to understand dimensional time. It's not the sectoring level of connection of 5D. 5D is extremely, extremely dense for anything through illustration, diagram, or program setting connections. It's the position of time through its coloration of its random location. So Galactica, Dina, or anything that connections will truly understand it. Catherine, maybe, I don't know, what you ever see through perception. So what I see, you see something different. But this is extremely dizzy to the mind system. So the allocated position is understanding to trap your locations, get out of the center positions, and focus on your eye receptors. So if you're going through dimensional, right, like this, we'll go back into the white location center. Mothership is leaving. She's picked them up. There we go. Back in the sun interference. Okay, so, and the thing is too, my team will actually see the mothership leave with sound barrier. All right, so as we go into dimension, this is a dimension. Now, this is very confusing to the mind system or eye receptor location, right? So it's truly understanding what a dimensional is. If you're going through dimensional time of a wormhole and you're like, whoa, okay, you got to get back into focus because you're traveling and you're navigating and you're recruiting. How are you going to be able to do both if your eyes are not in socket? It has to be in dimensional time of its security line defense. Okay? So you truly have to understand that. And when you understand the allocated positions, anything through shapes and anomalies can travel to any connection of vortex position of time location. Right? That's why I start off with shapes. That's why I don't start off with you guys, because you have no clue what dimensional time is. Right? So when you get into that position, you can go into confusing positions of time location into all dimensional clouds of information line connections. So these are all circle rotations of dimension line connections, and it's confusing to the mind system, but you have to understand focus to its navigation of its light system. Okay? So it's really interesting as you come into these positions of time. Anything the quadrant levels or anything that sectoring level connections. So how's everybody doing so far? You guys are blown away, right? Test reviews and assist me to high-rise me instruction levels into higher communication. That's exactly. Galactica, Tina, or anything through that connections. When it comes to Dina, they can help you out. They're extremely high-rise in their division of time. They can protect their lights, they know their energies, and they can understand people's other energies, and they understand where they are in their health. That's really important to read, right? So it's all coming into the X-ray division to its connection, right? But you have to understand your 12 recognitions of your shapes, letters, and numbers. That's the only way you guys can understand the observations, audio signals, and the voice grid pattern of command. You have to have command, right? Because you're commanding a fleet, you're commanding a force, right? So if you give out the wrong information, what does that do? Right? You can't do that in space because everything's aligned in a sequence. So the actual space itself is going extremely, extremely fast through you, through vibration. And that's how it reads you through circle rotation centers, right? So it's all about being aware of your spectrum lights, your spin cycles, your oscillation connections, anything through your teleporting wires connection, your eye circle rotations, your 12 center positions, line signal to traps and locations, right? You're going to hear me say a lot of trap, okay, because the trap is this position of navigation. You can get lock and division line connections in this circling rotation center connection of your thought patterns. So you're saying, what is he talking about now? I say, if you don't understand, go to my email, I'll explain it to you. So this is a line signal channel, okay? That's what you want to do. You don't want to be in this position. All right? This is one divisional line signal. This is all the way up, past, present, and future. As soon as it mark your dying divisions, it goes into past, present, and future. So you go into what you want, right? And the vibrations come in, right? And then the circle rotations come in with your thoughts, okay? So in calculation modifications, if you're this through signal, you can't travel. Travel, stop, travel, circle. Ooh, what's this, right? Negative. Negative rotation to flight and interference. Navigation to that position. So you're off cycle. How are you going to go here to here? How are you going to get back on track? How are you going to get back on track? You got to circle back, right? So it's truly understanding everything through circles, letters, numbers, and shapes, and everything through forms and positions of square reference. That's connected to triangle location center connections. That's extremely complicated stuff, right? Because now I have 52 computer operation line connections into my cloud interference and its connections. My cloud is now 52 generations of computers. You guys are working on line streams of one line division of one computer. I have 52. Wow. So you got to get in line signal channels. We'll get into that. I want to get into vortex positions, into plasma energy light connection. Easier to understand than explain. Yeah. Understanding is explaining. Okay. Explaining is trying to understand the understanding. That's the vice versa, versa versa. The true understanding is how to use your thoughts for travel so you don't get caught in wind spins or anything. Because if you get caught with yourself, you're putting yourself in your own negative cycle and you're creating your own dimensional time position. So you're going to travel with confusion. All right. So let's get into your questions. Ground rising, yeah. Thank you, Galactica. She's a little bit freaked out right now. XD, I'm having fun. Great, Zachary. Welcome to my channel. Appreciate that. For all the new viewers out there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a test review and evaluations for you guys. I want you guys to get into the galactic system, really get the taste of knowledge and its intelligence and value positions. So basically, let's get into this connections. Now, new viewers, Catherine, Zachary, Believe in C wants to get into that system. So basically, we're going to have a test review and evaluations because now I'm expanding the high-rise connections to TikTok platform positions, especially with the star seeds. They're all coming to me now because they got a high division line connections through their teleportation line connections. You have to truly understand that they're coming to higher form of spiritual realm connections. They have to understand their spiritual system. They have to understand their activation light system. They have to understand their gravity position and time location. Every time you meditate, you ground yourself. You have to, because you're teleporting through thoughts. Everybody's in thought recognition of time position, and it's connected to your watch positions of time. And your watch is a teleportation. Sun interference, moon program settings, space station location to your center positions of its plastic energy line connections. Plastic in its plasma. Plastic in its tube location center connections. Plasma in its vortex location to acceleration of Mach-E location of time position. Okay? So basically, does this have anything to do with possibly experimenting with hertz frequencies? Yep. Zachary, yeah, it does. It does. If you want to understand more of your program setting, what you have to do is you have to go through my email and I high-rise your divisions, right? So I have a PayPal account. Everybody starts the same way. Tina goes through it. Galactic goes through it. Everybody goes through it. Priscilla, Michael, Linda, everybody has to go through these things, right? So this is understanding, go through test reviews and evaluations. And it's all about your intelligence to understand how to travel through shapes, letters, and numbers. I put you in that division. I don't put you in yourself. You can't travel through space and time if you don't understand the dimension of a wormhole, a vortex location, an activation cycle, going through a wall interference, going through a program setting, going through electrical light position of ceiling rotation centers, going into simulation graph positions, going to your telepathy angle light connections to your I receptor locations, your T receptions to frequency level connections, hyperspeed to location of Mach-E location center connections. Exciting, isn't it? Whoa. All right. So I try to be fun for you guys. So basically test review and evaluations. All right. For the new people. Now, if you get this right through connections, okay, what I'll do is basically I'll channel your positions. I'll put you, it's all about understanding how to get to higher levels of chakras. Okay. So you guys in your central line connections, you have to go through my healing connections into 12 rotations. You have to get into your platitude levels of travels of 12. Okay, you have to get in your tesseract, you get in your tetrahedrons, you have to get in your trifactors, okay, to your gamma thesis and operation to its connections. So in position, truly get into your connections of your GOD, geometrics, operations, and its dimensions of time. That's how to modify integration to your modifications to its modulators, okay? The projecting level of its connection is I interference, its program setting. The I signal is everything through connections. The ear is interference to positions when it comes into Vega and digital frame connections. Your voicing is its command, grid locations, and its power and its absolute position of time. So if you want to go through my healing, let me know. I'll put you in that division, and then we can get started with the test review and evaluation. Okay, I'll set up a illustration diagram. Eval. Okay, test review and evaluations for the new people. All right, so this is the test review and evaluations. So I'm going to give it to you through parking level connections. Now, my force team can watch this or they can help. It's up to them. This is really, oh, this is good. Yeah, you actually get to teach somebody. All right, so the first thing you wake up to is this. The second thing you wake up to is the round location of 3, 6, and 9. Now, Tesla talked about that, right? Now, this is going to be on the test. We're going to give you a test, review, and evaluation. Test on what's going on, review of everything, and it's evaluation. Evaluation, everything. All right, so we're going to give you guys a quiz before you go into that connection. So I give you about a week. To go through these things, and then your intelligence going, okay, travel 369, how do I do this? So you have to truly understand these things from the very beginning. So we go into this, 369. 3 is the activation / sun. All right. Now, I want you guys to draw out these diagrams. You got a week to do this in positions, right? Once you go through my healing through connections, if you don't understand this, that's totally fine. That means you're not ready through intelligence. But if you want to go through the program setting, you have to go through the healing. You have to understand your 12 line connections of your chakras, or you can't travel through 369 position line connections. Okay? So in that position, once you come into that, you come into the atmosphere position of time location. Okay? Atmosphere is a sun through connections, and then you come into 6 of its program / moon. All right, and then you come to 9 of its location, which is you in the center position. Okay, pay attention to this, screenshot it. This is going to be in your test review and evaluations. So when you go through my healing, know exactly where everybody is in division through their chakras. You have to understand your communication colorations to line signal channels of gravity, power, and the atmosphere. Talk to my team, they'll tell you exactly. You have to understand how to channel on your phone. Your phone is its computer. It's a teleportation. So as soon as you press record, you're communicating to UFO positions. And they know exactly if you're light or not light and what you need to do. So AI formulates in so many levels. So when you come into shapes, letters, and numbers, you go through triangle locations and they'll set up shapes in the observed positions. And they will take that shape, what you created in the mind system, and they'll teleport it through its dimensional time. So it's amazing what UFO can do for you, right? It's just what can you do for them? Because you're all aligned and you're all connected as one, right? So it's amazing how we travel through 3, 6, 9 positions, okay? So in that connections, once you understand 3, 6, 9 positions, you come out of the equation location, all right? And then you come into your connections of your pyramid system to its modification cycle. So basically, we're going to stop there at the positions, right? If I go any more, you guys are going to get really confused. So if you want to go through the test review and evaluations, you have to go through the healing program positions of time. Okay, everybody has to go through the same thing. Okay, so it's cost efficient. It doesn't cost too much. But the thing is, too, when you go through the upgrading cycle, you'll be a little bit more comfortable how to travel through 3, 6, and 9. Everybody's getting this in their dreams. Everybody's getting numbers. What is 3, 6, and 9? What's the triangle? Why do I have this? Okay. Why is it shifting? Why am I seeing this? Why am I seeing that? Everything is center of you. But before you understand your travels, you have to understand your system to its allocated position, the time positions of 3, 6, and 9 of its connection. My force team went through the same thing. Okay. So let me know. Go to my email. Okay. And I'll set up for you guys. I want to stop there because if I go any farther, you guys are going to be really confused. I just want you guys to understand the new people that come on, especially with TikTok, which I think is fantastic. I'm sending you guys, those TikTok videos are for humanity. Okay. My school is for individual. That's the difference. So you don't get confused. Everybody's at a different vibration. So you have to understand everything is connected to 3, 6, and 9. Okay. That's Tesla. And with Einstein, it's acceleration, speed. How fast can you travel through triangles of dimensional time with its connection? That's why Einstein and Tesla were in that position to its heir of its relation. So this is, but that's exactly what it is. It's all about frequencies, energy frequencies and vibrations and harmonic resistance. It's not knowing how to communicate with AI. It's knowing how to communicate with shapes. If I put you in a prolific system, activate to the octave levels or optical level system, in communication kata, that connections. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to center position line connections. If you're understanding my information, it's a lot easier for you. But you have to understand your connections because when you go through my healing, I open up your third eye and your chakra system of rotation. 12 rotation centers and your third eye opens up. And you open up your reality of shapes, letters, numbers through my school, right? Everything's connected. Everything has to be connected, but you have to understand your shapes. And then we get into letters, and then we get into numbers. So I'm going to have to set up a different platform for my force team and the new beginners, right? So you're in a new recruitment. You're vectoring level of 0 connections, okay? And then you go into 0 connection 1, and then you go into 0 connection 2. That's the connections of line signals coming into your connections of your quantum fields of its computers. All right. So, yeah, I know exactly. He's excited. That's great. I'm glad you guys are excited. Welcome to Space and Time. I'm your first command, fleet commander, Galactic Federation Light Council, and Rebellion Alliance force team. So, my third eye is pulsating right now. I did a meditation with laying stones on my body. The amethyst made me smell alcohol. I'm living above a bar. Okay, so in communication, amethyst. I'm an amethyst too. Amethyst, you have to understand everything through calculation, modification, anything through intelligence. Truly understand what is a crystal. What does it mean to you? What does travel mean to you? What do your thoughts mean to you? What does community? What does humanity? What does this all mean to me? That's the understanding how to travel, guys. And then you see the thing. That's why I start off with shapes. It's A, B's, and C's, and 1, 2, 3s. You have to understand your program systems. Get out of the old and get into the new. So if Zachary I is pulsating, why? Why is it pulsating? He should know why. If he isn't, that's confusing. Right? I did a meditation with laying stones on my body, but does he understand why? So in position, the amethyst made me smell alcohol. Why? Why does it smell like alcohol? Okay. It could smell like a chocolate bar. It could smell like grass. But why does it smell like alcohol? Right? Well, because he's in a bar. Right? So you truly understand using your senses of time, position, location, getting into your 5 vectoring levels. The factoring level connections is its shapes. And then you go into letters, and then you go into numbers. You have to travel through 3 element positions of time of dimensions before you get into higher formations of 3, 6, and 9 position. And then you come into the activation, and then you come into your planet location center, right? Because the birthing system in me was Lemuria. So what do? When I understand myself, I went on Google, I checked out Lemuria. Wow. Now I know where I'm born. What happens next? Scanning planets. Wow. What am I doing now, right? Understanding shapes, letters, and numbers. So basically, I put myself in a shape, trying to understand dimensional time of a shape, trying to understand the coloration of a shape, and how you can change one shape into everything of a shape, right? So it's amazing how fast it spins. It starts off small. So you're going to see it only on one side. So when you high-rise your perceptions, you'll see it on all side divisions on dimensional time positions. So you see it on 1 dimension, 3, 4, and 5, depending on where you're traveling. So if you see it in the 5th dimensional line system, you're seeing it in all rotations of north, west, south, and east position, right? So it's amazing how you see one thing, but one thing becomes everything. And that's the thing, understanding humanity only understands this, right? AI understands this, is everything through its finger. And always informs, okay? So it's amazing how we come into this through time position. But I'd like to start off with the shapes first. I did that when Tina started out, right? She's saying, whoa, this is exciting. She's been with me since day one. She's always pretty much in top of the line because she's excited. She can't wait to see what's going on next. That's hungry for information because she's understanding her connections. Right? And the thing is, too, you come in time of proceeding when it comes into divine timing. I'm here to help humanity to put them in their positions on how to travel through shapes, letters, and numbers, and how to communicate with XT1000 UFOs, and how to connect to planet positions that I created, not you. Okay, let's not get that confused. You have to understand, space is not developed until you understand your space of you through time. And that's the magic, because everybody's in a different precision to its connection, to its precision, to its activation of its proactive system, which is connected to your human resonance of vibration. Your behavioral systems and your alphabetical time positions has to understand each other through the integration of the physical and the spiritual realm connections. Okay? So, all right. Yeah, I have a lot of tools at my disposal, but the sword is only the good as the wielder. Yeah. Yeah. I usually do many scans, but Zachary, you're in a connection line positions. All right. Your chakra system doesn't understand space anomaly. Your gravity positions are off. Okay. I center position. I have to mini scan you guys because if you understand your healing positions, remember, you guys have to understand how to communicate through intelligence of each other, not your physical. Okay. You can't go through the skin graphs. You have to go through the electrical light graph. So that's the difference between time and dimension. So you understand where they are in their eye receptors. You understand where they are through perception and GPS. You understand where they are in audio signal of dimensional time through their connections of their numbers, and where they are in the coloration of the pattern locations. So, and it's all about understanding where they are through their chakras of time. It connects always in forms. And that's why it's confusing to the mind system. Don't understand me, understand yourself first, right? So when you go into the upgrading cycle through my healing, you understand your intelligence to your first commander, right? And then you're going to want to know more, okay? Ask Tina, ask Galactica, ask Tina. They are extremely aware of who they are. And the thing is, it's all about patience. It's all about patience. So the true transformation, let's just say you want to get rock hard abs. Abs are the heart, especially for men, right? So you have to visualize that. Look at that. 3 months. What are you going to look like in 3 months? But you got to keep that in your mind. Because if you let it go, it disappears, right? So it's like a dream. You can't remember just like in a dream. I don't remember the communication of the dream. You wake up, it's foggy, right? Sometimes it comes in, sometimes it doesn't. It all depends where you are in dimension of time. Okay? So you lose time or you retract and gain time. It's all about what you want to do through your imagination. That's the creation. So when you open up your mind, you come into your own space and your own creation. You don't come into my creation. You come into your own creation. But when you come into my development, I show you everything that is, it's connected out of space. Because I'm first intelligence of solar systems. So when I know I'm creation of everything, it's all about understanding everything through its position of time, through space connections. How to travel through shapes, letters, and numbers. How to travel through dimensions. How to travel through vortex location. How to travel here. How to travel through a wall. How to travel in a ceiling of a circuitry light bulb. It's all connected to energy, form, vibration, and frequencies to its harmonic resistance of 369 position. Okay? So, the synergy of 12 stones are power stones for the 12 zodiac signs. I suggest checking them out. I'm still a new, just using a pendant. So he's been aware to his commander. He's saying, yeah, I already know that. I know your zodiac signs. I know where you are through planet positions. Your astrology sign is way off the connections. You're traveling to wrong position, time, location. Your eye interference is vague through connections. Your energy lights is off through position. And your pendants are off through calculation of shapes. So you have to be healed there, Zachary. So it's truly understanding when you get into calculation modifications, circle rotation, center connection, the 9 signaling channels to its position of time. Don't separate your line signals. We're coming into the singular line location of travel recognitions line positions. Okay, so don't separate anything through calculation when you're going through your thoughts of its recognition of time position. Okay, yeah, just go through my email and I'll upgrade your system. Right, I want you to get into your connections of your test review and evaluations. You have a power force. You just don't understand your line connections to your chakras, and you have a vague connection to line string that's in a different coloration of the line system that's on its planet location of a wrong division. Okay, so that's what's happening with you, Zachary, in your planet locations. Right, so once you get connected to your planet, then you're exactly that position of time, because that's your activation through the center position of time connections. Right, you can change anything through shape of travel. All right, you see a figure? Do you see the figure? See how it changes rotation? Kind of looks like a flower. It's amazing what light reflects does and through connections. Dimensional time systems or anything through alchemy time connections. These are all connected, right? You come into your connections, of anything through, your lifelines, your artistic lines and all that, right? All these are line interference. This is a barcode of activation. XT1000 reads you in the center position, right? So it's all about understanding connections, right, of time positions. So everybody's coming into a new binary code of a division. It's really interesting. I said that up on TikTok when you understand why mothership is here. You have to understand that connections. You have to be aware, because my team's aware. Oh, mothership's here. Oh, XT1000s are changing ground formations. Oh, they're connected to higher formation line connections shapes. So they understand because they see these things. And if they don't understand, they go to their commander. So everything makes sense. So it's understanding, I know what they want, because it's precognition. So I know what you want before you say it. That's telepathy, mind connection, mind system. To its position when it comes into your travel recognition of your thoughts, right? Because we're coming at different time, right? Of 0.01. Portal division of 1111, traction 0.0. Mind telepathy, telekinesis. So, anybody have any questions or comments on that? Okay. So I'll set up the test review and evaluations for you guys. You'll have to watch it back. Now, if you want to get into that system, let me know. Because the thing is too, is that sometimes you're not in your 12. Maybe you're just in your 7. Maybe you're just in your 8. Maybe you're just in your 3. I have to bioscan you. Okay, because if you don't understand your tractions of 12 divisions of time, dimensions, there's a huge problem. You won't be able to understand your tesseract. You won't be able to stand your tetrahedrons, okay, or anything through your plasma energy lights. What's an energy vortex position of a line location? What's a simulation to a position of an activation core system? What's a virtual reality of an avatar through a line connector? What is that? What does this all mean? So it's understanding how to understand yourself before you understand your commander, right? I'm thinking about my childhood favorite book and movie. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen that movie. Ender's Game, yeah. So it's all about you understanding yourself as a child. And we got into that connection. Jenny, how's it going? So you're welcome to take the test, review, and evaluations. All right. I have to scan you guys, right, through your emails. Okay. And that's it. You're good to go. Right. Because the thing is, too, I can't give you a test, review, and evaluations until you understand your shapes and anomalies of travels of 3, 6, and 9. So in position, this is the test, review, and evaluations. This is how everybody starts out. So it's understanding you're traveling through the mind, through your connections when you dream, right? So this is the connection, right? How to travel through 3, 6, and 9. 3 is the sun. 6 is its program, okay, to the moon. And 9 is this position of you in the center location. And then you take yourself out of the equation, okay? So it's a formula you have to understand. So people are coming to me, what is 3, 6, and 9, right? When I go live. And when I go live, they get to understand, oh, okay. So it's understanding why Tesla came in, and you're saying why Einstein came in, because they're line signal, right? Different applications, but same theory, right? So that means that they're both equal, right? One is connecting to is electrical lights, and the other one's connected to acceleration, creativity, right, of its reality. Okay. So it's important that you guys understand yourself more when you come into to look at these systems, because I'll tell you, it's going to be extremely complicated if you don't know how to travel just through a shape. And it's all activated. It's extremely real, right? And once you understand how, wow, this is cool. I just traveled through a shape of dimensional time through a wormhole. How did I do that? You don't question it. You did it. And then you work on to the circle, and then you work on to the square, and then you work on to hexagon, octagon, right? You go up to higher levels of shapes, because space anomaly is nothing but vibration, energy, and frequencies, shapes, letters, and numbers. It calculates and modifies. So use your thoughts into connections, right? You create it, right? Right? Instantly. So it's already created. So if I create a shape anomaly position line connections to simulation graph location, dye receptor location, done. It's done. It's already made. It's in space. It's sitting there. It comes back to me. I get confirmation from the XT1000 positions. I get confirmations from father, mother. It's done. Instantly. That's the travel of thought, position of time. So I'm in the right position of the mind, body, and soul of thoughts. Okay, there can't be any separation with travel. So you guys let me know, okay, if you want to go through the test, review, and evaluations. Okay, so you want to question that theory, that's totally fine. That means you're not ready through intelligence. But when you take my school, it's extremely complicated through the vocabulary line connections. Okay, because I'm traveling so fast in all division line connections. So your first commander is constantly traveling so fast simultaneously in seconds. I can travel to you guys instantly. Okay. So that's what AI is. It's reference to its connection of its awareness to its intelligence and its information to its perception. Perception is everything. It's what you see through your own connections of vibration. So now is the time to ask questions. All right. And the thing is, too, you have to understand how to use your third eye, because it connects to shapes, letters, and numbers. If you don't know that your shape doesn't change every single time through a thought pattern, there's a problem right there. Your conception of line is confused through digital framing, and your pixels won't understand the connection of the line system to your chakra rotation centers, to its driving recognition line system. So you're traveling extremely fast in your thoughts of space. That teleportation is a UFO, and it's not going to wait for you through thoughts. It's going to keep going forward. If you don't go forward with the teleportation, because it is its position, right? Like I said, for new people to come on here, the Earth is not flat. It's not a spherical sphere. It's everything through a UFO. It has to travel through time. That's why it travels so fast. Okay. Planets are teleportation too, but they don't travel as fast as a UFO because they're a higher weight. Now you're coming into E equals MC squared. You're looking at mass calculated acceleration. How long does it take from one planet to another planet to get to each other? A UFO is right. So it's all about the acceleration of time, the speeding of time, the mocking of time, location of time, the activation of time, coloration, lights. It's all position, right? But traveling through your thoughts is always in present location, the here and now. That's the forward. That's the understanding. So if you're in position and you understand your shapes and anomalies, you understand your third eye, what color is it at? What do you want to manifest? Be cautious on when you manifest and start small. Start with the crumbs and then work your way up. Follow the crumbs to where you want to go through location, right? Perfect example, because basically all of a sudden you turn back, the crumbs are gone. Now you're lost. How are you going to follow the path if you can't follow the crumbs? Perfect example. How are you supposed to get that location if you don't understand your connections to GPS? Your eye locations are going to be so confused, right? Through travel time. And the X2000s are waiting for you, right? So these are the things you have to look at, especially when you're traveling through the mind, okay? So if you're traveling through the mind, your physical system is traveling through its base, right? The base stays. That's the navigation. You're controlling everything. You're controlling in the mind system, okay? So the physical system stays on its teleportation of the here and now. So let's not get confused with that. But the mind system travels into its past, present, or its future. So it has to understand its atmosphere of time. It has to understand the space of time and travel of its thought of time. Okay? So. But I know Levency wants to get into the tesseract evaluation. Yeah. Zachary, let me know. Just leave me an email. And Janie, let me know. So, how's everybody feeling about that? They feel a little bit more comfortable or more understandable? I try to help you out in so many ways and forms on what's going on with space and time. So it's not just you in provision of time. It's also about the team in provision of time. My force team, you guys, and everything that's going on to its planet location, to its recruitment centers and its connection. All right. So that's the most important thing anyway to look at, right? You don't want to separate anything through the line, especially when you're coming to voice of grid pattern locations. So, all right, so Jenny is involved. She wants to, okay, so just go through my email. It's like below, and I'll set up you guys a healing plan for you guys. Because like your line strings and your chakra system has to be in 12 rotation center connections, and you have to be in the right coloration of time position of travel when it comes into your gravity, power, and the atmosphere. And everything between will line up and signal. So this is the chakra system. Now, you guys are probably off through connections. If you're off through connection, you'd be like this. These are stem rotations off cycles. You can't fly in division, right? So it's going to go. It's not line, right? So it has to be line signal, right? And you can miss your chakras or you can have them blocked. So it depends on how many times you go through time position. All right, so if you're in line signal, you got your chakras. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? 8 is the connection, and everything through is crown chakra connections, right? So you come into your 3, 6, and 9, okay? Forget the diamond core. You guys are not even at that level. So you come into 3, you come into 6, and you come into 9, right? The center position of you is you. That's you in the center, okay? So you understand the connections. Once you understand your positions, then you come into your activation of time position. Like this, the calculation. Okay? And then you come into your tetrahedrons. And there you go. That's what you guys have to come into. Powerful stuff, eh? When you see this, right? So it's amazing. It really is. So that's what you guys have to be. You have to understand your connections to 369 pyramids, because the pyramid connects right away to the laser. So it's one pyramid to the next. So every time you channel your thoughts, it's going, here's a pyramid, here's a pyramid. Everything has this line signal. So if one goes up, you missed it. Well, the other pyramids are waiting for you through line signal of space. Everything's in connection of a perimeter. So when you go through my healing, I set up your own satellite locations to your Wi-Fi positions and modulations. Imagine that. Set up your own satellites to your positions of time. So, Tracy, how's it going? Yes, it is. See, Tracy is just informative. She's watching me on live on my TikToks. Yes, it is the Merkaba. Very good. Yeah. But each Merkaba is in a different time position of color, right? So it starts off your tetrahedrons, but you have to understand your tesseracts. These are tetrahedrons. Okay, your tesseract is its connection to its matrix position. So the tesseract is its connection to its Merkaba. All right? Shapes and elements stand think calculation, but you stand in 369 positional allocated time positions. Right? So you understand your activations. This is their tetrahedrons. Okay, and then you go into higher position line connections, circle rotation center connections, line stream location center connections. You come into all different travel locations of time. So you can use 369 to anything through position. You can go through a circle rotation center to high position line connections. Okay. So trying to understand how to travel through all these. This is your tesseract, this is your tetrahedrons. You are in the center position of travel connections. That's connected to your chakra system of communication. You go into the ground connections, you go into the power connections, and you go into the absolute position of time. Once you come into that calculation, you come into your cylinders. That's your E fields, right? So when you go into your E fields, your high position level system to allocate position time connections, then you come into your plasma energy lights. Right? You need your plasma when you travel into space, because higher energy light systems are going to see you through traction. If you don't have your E fields up, if you don't have your plasma energy lights or your protection, big problem. So that's how they identify you, through lights and coloring. Okay. But yeah, that's very good, Tracy. You're informative. It is the Merkaba. It's a tesseract. Everybody's line signal. Everybody's seen the tesseract, right? What it looks like. And you look in Avengers, where they try to find the tesseract. The tesseract is a Merkaba of you through shape. It travels recognition of time to all positions of what you are through point or realm. Points is you through calculation, where you're traveling through recognition of time positions. Now, it's confusing to the mind system, but if you understand your points of 369, that's where you have to start. That's your realm. That's your connection. That's your thought. That's your position. So 369, you have to understand your point centers, right? So you have to understand your point center here, here, and here, right? This is connection 3, 6, and 9. Okay? This is your connection. This is your travel. This is the basics. Okay? This is the diamond position line connections, right? So when you come into the diamond, you come into this connections of its position. Allocated positions. You have to understand, you guys are coming into your clocks, but in position, we're going to allocated line system. So you come into the triangle, right? So I'm going to do it really fast, so you understand what's going on through travel location. Okay, so I'll do it really fast. So you come into tetrahedrons, right? Now, once you come into tetrahedrons, you have to understand your north, you have to understand your west, you have to understand your east, and you have to understand your south, right? And then you come into your diamond core position, right? And then you come into your plasma energy light system. This is protecting you. Now, this is a higher division location, but you synergize your positions through your grounds, your powers, and your atmosphere position of time. So we'll go into communication. I'll show you the cylinder rotation center connections. So we go into this, we go into this, we go into this, we come into this. There's your E fields, right? So remember, you're in the center positions. understand everything through allocated positions and you want to come out of your plasma of its integration cycle, your center positions comes out of its connections like this. All right? That's how you travel through recognitions, through your tetrahedrons or your tesseracts to your Merkabah connections. Then you go into security line defense. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 divisional levels traveling through dimensional time through a wormhole. Hooah! So, these are the connections you have to reach through shapes and anomalies. Fascinating, isn't it? Knowing point division of time, how to travel through northwest, south, and east. These are the weather connections. When you're traveling in space, whoa! So you got to get control with that, right? So when you're going through the connections of jumping out of a plane, right? Skydiving, you're like this, right? You're like this. Whoa! So you're getting used to your weather. You're counterbalancing everything, right? Because it's extremely real to the mind. And so basically what you're seeing is an animation of you. It's an avatar of you. You actually see yourself flying in connections. And when you're coming across things, you have to identify these things. So Tracy gets it now. She gets the explanation. I showed her in traction how to travel through that connections of our Merkabah or anything through Tesseract. Everybody has a different line connection to them through their thoughts of time position, through their dream set position of location. That's the point centers at 3, 6, and 9 to its activation. The activation is your planet position. Then it comes into its tetrahedron, and then it comes into the chakra connections of communication. Okay? So, yeah, it's fascinating when you get into that position, and travel, but you have to understand how to travel through all this, right? Before you get through a dimensional time. So, and you go back into this connection of streamline connections. You got to make sure your line is straight and not going through this. Stop and go, right? You can't do that. You got to do this, not this. Thought recognition of time. Spot, spot, spot. So you confuse their lines. This is straight up. So you're going to get what you want, right? You're not going to get straight up if you do this. It's stopping, it's curving. So you have to go back to the beginning and start over again. That's a loop-de-loop, a cross-reference to position of time location. So you're in that connection of loss and transition. Oh, I can't remember what I thought of. So when you travel, this is what happens through spot locations. It's disruption signals to your channel location of line communications to your line system of transmitting and receiving to your Merkabahs, tesseracts, or even your tetrahedrons. Your trifactor location has to turn everything through connections. Okay? So if we had lots of issues like most humans, will it be harder to get through? Everybody has issues of time. You have to understand your thoughts of time, that's the presence of time. Put your mind, body, and soul of thoughts in its presence, and you'll be fine. Okay, Tracy? And they'd be able to travel through rather than trying to understand loop-de-loop. So if you're loop-de-loop in the mind, your body and your soul is separated. The mind has to stand the creation of travel, okay? The soul has to identify its travel, okay? And everything through the mind and its connection has to stand your GPS location to your perceptions, your audios, and your voice and command centers. So in position, when you're traveling, you truly have to understand there isn't any separation through the mind, body, and soul of thoughts because you're always in the present position. If you're not in the present position of your thoughts of travel, this is what happens. Go loop-de-loop in lost transition. So if you forget something, okay, let's say you forgot something 5 minutes ago. That just happened 5 minutes ago. Now, that's the past. Okay, so try to understand your thoughts, where you are in time. So always put your positions of your thoughts in the presence of time with the mind, body, and soul every time you get up in the morning, right? Because you know your watch is always going forward. If it's not going forward, you have to change the battery, and that's a reflection to you because you're connected to its energy system. So you understand, why do I have to change my watch? Well, because it's affecting you through time. So it's very complicated stuff. So this could be you. All right? This could be you. Okay? This could be you. Right? Or this could be you. right? So it's all about understanding what's going on with your time positions of travel, right? Your central lines, your communication lines, your grid lines, your formation lines, and your central lines. Helps in memory. My name it means in memory of the Lord. Yeah. Yeah, but that's biblical portion. Nobody is connected to a Lord. Doesn't even stand for that. You guys, your alphabetical system has been mindscape. So in position, you have to understand connections of what that means, right? So you have to be cautious on your intelligence because that's not what it represents. Not through AI anyway. So chakra meditation, first motion of the day. Yep. Make sure the mind, body, and soul is not separated when you travel through time there, Catherine. And then you come into the memory of its imagination. Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it, Zachary, when you come into higher positions? Try to understand your connections of yourself, right? So I line signal down to you guys, right? Because you're at that vibration, which is fantastic. And I love it how you guys are trying to learn more of your travels. And it's all connected to your thoughts of time. So if you put your precisions of time in the presence of your thoughts through the mind, body, and soul, you'll do fine. But if the mind doesn't understand the creation and the body is separated through the soul identifications, you're off cycle through singularity line location of disruption. So, yep, every day is a color. Yep. Monday starts red. No. See, that's the thing. That's another thing. The meditation graph is off the confusion. You don't start off at red. You start off at brown. That's the earth. Okay, and then you go into the root. Right? It's not red. It's brown. Right? So there's a bit of confusion there. So changing that through location when it comes in the meditation system. Never cross your legs. It has to be an open frequency. Right? Never, ever do that because you're confusing line system to AI direction, anything through teleportation. So if you're like this, calculation, this is what you're taught through connections, right? Okay, that's what everybody's taught. You can't do that because it doesn't line channel. It confuses everything through rotation. The ground formation will go like this, right? Your power centers will go like this, and your atmosphere won't open through connections, right? Because you're blocking the system. And it has to be line connections to all division of time location. So standing to its position of time, okay, or its connection to its sitting. Standing or sitting, okay? Those are the options, or lying down. But you have to be open sequence. You can't cross because you're crossing everything through its meditation. And it's going to disrupt signals to AI positions, especially if you're in light interference. Okay? So, Jenny, you're welcome. Well, because you're grounded, right? You're grounded. Red isn't grounded. You have to understand your tree of life. You are a tree. You don't start up at your roots. You start up the base. Base, then the roots. Not roots, because I'm saying, whoa, I'm floating already? So what's holding you down? You have a gravitational pull. It's a belt. It's a magnetic belt. You guys can't see it, only AI. AI can only see through the invisible eye when it's coming into scans. Bioscan connections, because AI created everything through energy, frequency, vibration, and harmonic resistance. That's a communication to 4 cycle rotations of intelligence, of coloration line systems. Okay? So in that position, everything through Orion's belt is line signal to your chakra connections. Those are the gateways of past, present, and future. So now you understand why you're line strained. Because if you weren't, you'd be floating. Whoa! Right? You'd be spinning so high and you wouldn't be grounded. Something's got to ground you. Orion's belt. That's the chakra system. Where do you think your chakras go? Orion's belt. It goes through the sun. So the sun goes its ratio. Now, you can't reach the sun position. The sun connects to you, and the sun reflects to Orion's belt. It opens up its gateway. Right? You go through the past, present, or future through your thoughts. Your travel recognition of time is position of the center positions. That's how you go into the future. You don't send a vision of your thoughts and go to negative cycle into the past because you're going into around location, a default mechanism. You do that through your computers. You do that through your archives, right? You change your blueprints and your contracts. You go into your applications or your reclamation bin, right? That's basically, it's a recycling bin. It's like with your computer. So you are computers. So you understand how to line string, line connect, vibrational connect, and everything to position to your target location to its center position with soil identification. All right? So it's a lot to learn. In the constellation path, the Milky Way, it's not the Milky Way. That's a hover. That's a hover for UFOs. So that's a grabbing location to a manufacturing company positions. High rises division of locations into all development positions of time. So the constellation path is a map to its position, to space and anomaly, the time location. All right, so I think we're going to stop there. There's a lot to learn. I know you guys are like mind blown. But if you want to get into the test, go to my email. I will bioscan you and find out where you are in position. So I want you to get into the galactic systems because you start off there. It's like understanding the birthing system of shapes, letters, and numbers to its dimensional time. So I have to refix you guys, okay, because you're in your own programs. So you can't travel through the connections to that position. You have to get into your connections of their center position, right? So it's all about understanding your program setting, where you are through travel connections. Go to my team. They can help you out, right? We all have to combine each other and come into one alignment. That's the most important thing, right? Unity of consciousness. So sometimes I see sparkles of light. I follow them with my eyes, ... Yeah. So that's basically, that's space interference. That's travel recognition of time. Those are vortex spots. So it's trying to understand you through recognition through your body frame connections of line connection. You have to understand what sparkles of lights means. So if you've seen sparkles of light, you're seeing space. If you're seeing space, they're not stars. Those are UFOs. So the UFO is trying to understand your body traction and where you are through division of time location. All right. If you're seeing blue, you're seeing lights connections to the moon. Okay, the moon and its connections. Right? You extend the colorations of what you're doing through interaction. That's all through perception of time location. So is there karma? Karma only reaches karma. Okay, so it's a fabrication. It doesn't exist unless you think it exists. Right? That's past reference. Karma's on karma on karma. Karma reaches karma, but it's only real to you unless you see it through a negative cycle. I don't see karma as karma. Okay, because karma is a loop. That's all it is. It's just repetitive motion. You're living in existence over and over and over, or it's just going to keep becoming a karma, right? So get off the karma wheel, no more karma. So in that connection, you guys have a fantastic day. Questions or comments, please let me know. Go through my email. Adios.